In this third part of the poem, Sympathy, we are going to see the question and answers of this lesson, and I hope after this third part everything will be cleared and you will feel very much prepared, because we are including this question answer also in this third part. See, the first question is given as how is the movement of the wing described? Means we have to answer this question by looking at the poem, and especially the bird's movement of her wing, that how he or she is moving its wing. So the answer is the wind is described as the doer of an action that is stirring, moving softly through the springing grass. It means the wind is causing the dancing movement of the grass by stirring softly through them. So I think you know very well that this movement of the wind actually, not wing, is given in this first question. So kindly correct the spelling mistake here. It is not wing but the wind. So the wind is described as the doer of an action that is stirring, moving softly. Now let's see the second question. Why is the flowing river is compared to a stream of glass? Means in this poem, why the poet has used a river which is having very clear water or crystal clear water. So why he compared the river or flowing river with a stream of glass? Means that river is actually a stream and a stream of glass. So you see the answer is the flowing river is compared to a stream of glass for showing the river with crystal clear water and a beautiful scene which the caged bird is missing profoundly. See, means he used the very clean watered river only because of one thing, that the caged bird is missing that part or that segment of nature very much, very profoundly. That's why the poet used not a very dirty river or dry river, but a river which is having a stream of glass. Then we move to the next question, the third question. What is the consequence of the bird beating its wings? Now, consequence means outcome, result. What is the result of the bird beating its wings? Means what happened as a result when the bird starts or when it beats its wing against the bars. So you see, the answer is the consequence of the bird beating its wings is that its wings will release blood and all the bars color will change into red. It thinks that when it beats its bars only then it would be free, which means it is impossible for the bird to get its freedom. Means the bird is continuously beating her wing against the bars of the cage, and the poet has used a very nice word, cruel bars. So it means it is continuously trying very hard to get her freedom, and even injuring herself, even creating so much pain to herself, but it will not give her her deserving freedom, and it is still means not stopping, continuously beating its wings. So definitely the consequence of beating her wings would be only blood. Means her wings would get injured, would be full of scars, and the blood that will come out of those wings will color the bars in red. Now the fourth question, what is only action the bird is capable of within the cage? Means only what action the bird is able to do inside the cage, because you see when the bird would be outside the cage, so definitely it will fly long distances, it can go anywhere it likes, or it will enjoy the freedom, the nature, or the beauty of nature and everything. But you see, inside the cage, it is having only a little scope for action. So what is the only action the bird is capable of doing inside the cage or within the cage? So the answer is, the only action the bird is capable of within the cage is beating her wings to the cage without any result. See, we know very well, means the bird is continuously trying very hard to get its freedom, but it is unable to get it. As we know, means the bars are highly strong and very much strong, that cannot be broken, that cannot be moved, or that cannot be molded by the beating of wings. Only wings will be destroyed. So this is the only action the bird is capable of doing within the cage. Now the next question, number is wrongly given here. Are the bars really cruel? What rhetorical device has been applied here? See, here we have been asked that if you have read the poem very keenly, in a very with a very strong comprehension, so you answer this question, that whether the bars described in this poem are really cruel, and if they are cruel, so what rhetorical device has been applied here? So you see, the bars are really cruel, and we come to know this by the line, till its blood is red on the cruel bars. So you see, the bars are really cruel. We have known this thing from the poem, because the poet has used the line, till its blood is red on the cruel bars. So you see here, if we can say that there are two different figures of speech have been used in these lines. One I have written here, and one I think which is more important or fitting more than this one is the next one that I will explain to you. You see, till its blood is red on the cruel bars. The poet has applied here the figure of speech of metonymy, in which the bars are representing the whole jail. So this is one figure of speech where a part represents the whole. For example, means a pen is mightier than the sword. So this is the example of our very famous example of metonymy, means a pen is describing knowledge or representing knowledge, and the sword is representing means cruelty, government, or tyranny of the tyrant people. So in this line, one or means here we can say that it is metonymy. But you see, another very well example or figure of speech is used here, that is transferred epithet. Transferred epithet means here you see the adjective cruel. You see, bars are not cruel. Bars don't have the quality of being cruel. Cruelty is actually inside the human beings. But here you see this quality of cruelty is given to non-animate thing, that is bar or bars. So this figure of speech is called, or this type of use of words or use of language is called transferred epithet. Means epithet means adjective. So here you see the poet has transferred the adjective from its right noun phrase, or its correct noun. Here if you see, if the poet had used in this way, till its blood is red on the cruel tyrants, on the cruel people, so at that time it would be correct. But here he has used cruel bars. So bars are non-living beings, non-living things, entities. So here we can say that this line is having more obviously the transferred epithet, the figure of speech of transferred epithet. But if we use metonymy also, so it is correct. But according to me, if we have to choose which one of the two figures of speech is more deserving, more fitting here, so I think transferred epithet would be better one. Okay, now again, what is the actual nature of the bird's song? See, it is a very well nice question. That the bird is singing inside the cage. The bird is doing some actions inside the cage. But you see, the poet in the last part of the poem has described that the song of the bird is not a song. Because you see, generally we sing a song when we are happy. So if the bird is singing the song inside the cage, so is it that the bird is happy inside the cage? So no. In the third part, the poet describes that thing, that the bird's song is not actually the carol. The word carol was used. So carol means a happy song which is sung by Christians during the festival of Christmas. The actual nature of the bird's song is that it is not a happy song like carol. Means it is a Christian merry folk song or hymn, but it is a prayer or plea that the bird is sending forth from its heart's deep core for getting freedom. Means actually the song is a prayer, the song is an appeal, it is a plea. Means the bird is pleading, the bird is having a very strong appeal of getting her freedom. Means it is actually lamenting, it is crying inside the cage, but showing her pain by, but showing her laments by singing. So nobody should mistake the song of the bird as a happy song, but it is a sad song, it is a very painful song of that bird. So the actual nature of the bird's song is that it is a prayer. Means it is, as you see, Allama Iqbal says that दिल से जो बात निकलती है सर रखती है पर नहीं ताकत परवाज मगर रखती है. It means the bird is also praying to God or praying to the people who concern about freedom, those who are free, that the bird is without any crime, without any sin has been put behind the bars. So it is her prayer that she is telling through her songs. So here we finish our third part, and I hope that you all might have got the whole ideas of the poem. But you see, poem or poetry is a very high level or high form of literature. Nobody can with 100% surety say that I have understood the poem completely. So I would like to tell you that you yourself read the poem, you apply your own critical analysis or your own judgment, your own comprehension, understanding to know the poem. Maybe you will understand, you will get the deeper meaning or better meaning or vaster meaning of the poem through your own first hand experience of reading. Or you see, we should always try to read, as far as literature is concerned, the original thing, or we should get the first hand experience of those things, because literature is really a very creative field. It's a very abstract field. It is actually a sense of life, an ideology, a philosophy presented by its creator, presented by the poet, the writers. That's why reading literary works or comprehending literary works, understanding literary works are not an easy task. So I hope that you will read the poem by yourself and try to apply your own mind, try to use your own understanding to know the poem better. And thank you again for watching this third part also. And I will come again with new videos, with the new poems or with the new chapters that are in our syllabus. Thank you so much.